Paul, and he said, you know what I really would like to do is I'd really like to make a book. Well, it gets better. People are born this way, and dreams come true, because this is the book that Paul wished into reality, and it's a wonderful book, and I am super pleased that Paul B. is here tonight to read from this book. So please welcome him to reading from Born This Way.
Thank you, Hank. I always bring the one big, giant, promosexual version of the cover. Because look at the photos. Aren't they beautiful? I'm a DJ. Hank's, I'm not really a writer per se. I am a writer, but for my book, it was written by other people. So I'm sort of the conceptualizer, concept person, and I edited their stories. And for tonight, because it's the holiday theme and it's Ho-Ho-Homo-Centric, I actually went to the blog, because there's over 600 stories on the blog. There's only 100 in the book, and I wanted to find stories related to the holidays. So I'm going to share those, which are not actually in the book. So. And if you like some, after each story, if you want to applaud for that person's story, you can, okay? First is Charles. He was 6 years old. He grew up in Denison, Texas, and it was in 1984. As Christmases went, 1984 was a harvest of presents, and my Cabbage Patch doll was a featured crop. I adored her thick, coarse mane of brunette yarn hair and attached birth certificate, which proudly informed me of her given name, Christine. I was also elated by both the doll and my brand new Alvin and the Chipmunk slippers. My 4-year-old brother Cameron, who now identifies as bisexual, was never one to care what others thought, a trait that earned my admiration long ago. But his joy was obvious on this Christmas day. After all, he received not one but 2 dolls. I, however, knew that boys were not to own dolls, which is why I was displeased when my parents caught this Kodak moment. At least they hadn't opted for a photo when I was actually opening the box. Why? Because I'd shrieked with glee. When I looked at this photograph now at the age of 32, I'm amazed at how loving and encouraging my parents were. Not all Texan parents indulge their sons' fondness for dolls, and certainly not all parents actually bought their boys such dolls. To my great joy, I learned to read via my mother's purchase of Rainbow Bright storybooks. Any good grades I earned in elementary school were rewarded via my father's purchase of bedazzled My Little Pony toys, at my request. Whenever Cameron and I broke into Mom's closet to play dress-up, and then insisted upon a fashion show whenever neighbors visited, Mom and Dad never blinked an eye. They never forced me to be something or someone or something I was not. During my childhood, I enjoyed Hot Wheels and hot pink. I stayed true to myself, and that was the best response to an intolerant and unsympathetic world. Indeed, that is my advice to all young gay people: be yourself. Whether you adore the color mauve or hope to win the World Series, take pride in yourself. You are amazing, and you will offer so much to the world. Never let anyone else convince you otherwise. Charles. Next up is Jack. He was 12 years old. He grew up in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. It's from 1987. My photo shows how I was an aspiring decorator in my mother's classroom at age 12. I loved any holiday, and we had decorations for all of them, but Christmas took the cake. As a teacher's kid, hanging out at the school after hours, but before everyone went home, was a magic time. And I have such a clear memory of the day my photo was taken. I begged my mom to let me decorate her room for the holiday, and of course she let me. Why I chose to wrap myself up in a bunch of tinsel like the love child of Lady Gaga and Jane Mansfield, that I don't know. I remember performing a little dance around the room to some bad 80s music for all the other teachers' kids. Getting other people to laugh was a constant coping mechanism for me, and I remember consciously thinking to myself, they can't hit you if they're laughing, even if it's at you. My mom came in the room to witness the scene, thought it was hilarious, and grabbed her camera and took a photo. She always pushed me to try new things, but never deterred me from being myself, which may have included a very, very short stint as a local fashion model at age 13. Now, as a happy gay man in my early 30s, I can't tell you how lucky I was to have a mom that just loved me for all I brought to the table, even in Oklahoma. As much as middle school or high school can totally suck, the message I can leave with those reading this small snippet of my life is this: love yourself in the now, and for all that you bring to the table. A testament to that is I can now own this photo and love me for who I have always been, although I am a bit ashamed of my ugly cable knit sweater. And that was Jack. Next up is Jan. She was 8 years old. She grew up in Edmond, Oklahoma. I love these stories from the middle of the country. Are there gay people in the middle of the country too? Yes, there are. This was from 1978. She writes, "In our photo, my sister is sitting next to me with her usual big smile. I had the girliest sister in the entire universe. The pic now makes me laugh. And if I actually thought I was ever fooling anybody about being straight, the gay clearly shines through in my photo. I think I knew that I was different around age 4. How can you not know when your closest sibling is the princess of the world? She always wanted me to play with dolls or have tea parties or some other prissy thing, which really got on my nerves. Why do that crap when you can play with G.I. Joe or the Millennium Falcon? While she was busy spinning around like Wonder Woman and jumping on the furniture like the Bionic Woman, I was playing Han Solo frozen in carbonite, or single-handedly battling Sasquatch in our playroom. I grew up with my fair share of bullies, but I was lucky enough because I was funny and I could run fast. I was also a really good skater. The first time I saw Kristen McNichol, my life changed. I just knew that one day I would roller skate up to her in my satin jacket and offer her a piggyback ride. Naturally, she would jump on, and off we'd roll into the sunset, obviously with a rainbow visible in the background. The first person I told about being a lesbian was my sister. She could not have cared less, and she said she would always love me no matter what, and she has, and she's still the girliest girl that I know. I grew up in a relatively small town, and it was really difficult and sad at times. But I look back now, and I see how it got easier and easier each year for me to stop pretending. I accepted who I was, and ultimately became truly happy in my own skin. And I have no doubt that that will be the same for you too." That's Jan. Next is Mike. He was 5 years old, another Midwesterner, Pendleton, Indiana, 1977. He says, "Don't be fooled by the masculine blue pajamas I'm wearing in my photo. More often I'd be dressing up in my mom's old nightgowns, a wig, and costume jewelry. My little sister and I would both get diva'd up and prance around the house, lip-syncing to Marie Osmond or the Mandrell sisters. Or we'd pretend that we were the oil baroness wives on Dallas. I like to play Sue Ellen Ewing because she was so deliciously mean and drunk. Our neighbor Cindy would come over, and the three of us would create elaborate dramas with each of our characters a beautiful runway model. Even at an early age, I knew that milking a situation for all its turmoil was, in a word, tragifabulous. And yet, I first knew I was gay around age 5. I was in love with Mark Hamill and wanted to be Luke Skywalker. But more importantly, I wanted to touch his perfectly tan chest. The way his desert poncho allowed just the slightest glimpse of his collarbone and pec muscles did something to me that I couldn't explain. I even forced our Luke and Princess Leia dolls to do some serious, heavy petting, even though I didn't understand what it meant. Growing up gay in the Midwest in the 70s might not have been ideal, but my family was supportive and allowed me to be me. Their mantras were, "We are not everybody else," and "It doesn't matter what other people think." And what can you say about a mother who sews her son a Wonder Woman costume from scratch and lets him wear it to his kindergarten Halloween party? I would say that's the definition of love. That's Mike. Next up is Treva. She was 4 years old. She grew up in Chicago, Illinois, 1965. I knew from a very young age that I was different from everyone in my family. I even made up reasons as to how I was different, such as adopted, switched at birth, stolen, and even that I was half alien. As a young child, I detested dresses. The only way I would wear one was if it was blue. So I always dressed in blue, and my younger sister was always in pink. One year in high school, a butch girl in my class... One year in high school, There was a butch girl in my class, and I was fascinated by her. She wore men's clothes and had a pocket watch. I was too afraid to talk to her, but I defended her almost daily to all my friends. I still remember her with fondness. I never knew that women could be together until after I was already married. I broke up with my husband and came out when I was 33. And now my ex-husband introduces me to other women as a marital aid. He still regrets doing that. As it turns out, my oldest daughter outed me to our family one Christmas by walking in the house and declaring, "Merry Christmas, my mom's gay." Let me say that I am not your stereotypical lesbian. I'm femme. I have 3 daughters and 3 grandchildren. I love being gay, and that was what was missing from my life when I pretended to be straight, and I will never go back. I've recently started doing drag, and I love that too. I love pushing the envelope and making people think. I believe that we can be anything we want, as long as we have fun and hurt no one. As for the gay youth of today, I think they're on the right track. Being gay is way more open and accepted than it was when I was young. So be true to yourself, and everything else will come in time. And that's Triva. And our last story is Greg. He was 2 years old. It was Plano, Illinois, in 1974. My photo was taken at my grandma's house, where I remember listening to Judy Garland send my baby back to me on a 78 RPM record in her basement. You can see I have my Ken doll, as I'm coveting my sister's Barbie dream house that she got for Christmas. I couldn't even take my eyes off the dream house while posing for a picture. My older sister is grabbing my head, trying to get me to face the camera. I realized I was different in the 7th grade. I prayed that it wasn't true and that I would change, but I just didn't find girls attractive. I didn't really know what gay meant, though, so I thought maybe I was supposed to have been born a girl. I was pretty tormented emotionally, and I felt very depressed. My celebrity same-sex crush were the boys on 8 is Enough. All of them. My mom tells me I was in love with Chastity Bono, too, so go figure. Closeted through high school, I don't remember being picked on for being gay, but I've been bullied and teased because of my size and lack of athletic interest and ability. When I turned 25, I was given the greatest gift, self-acceptance. And I remember feeling as though a huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders. Upon reflection, I realized that I had always been gay and soon began coming out to friends and family, and I finally came out to my mom 3 years ago. Today, I live as an openly gay man. I've been told by straight men that they respect me for being who I am, and that makes me feel great. I feel that I should use my position to educate others, to pave the way for future LGBTQ kids, so they don't have the fear of being found out that they're gay. I was born this way, and I love it. Now, I will read one thing from the book. It's the end of my introduction for people who are reading the book, and it goes such as, we are all here to say to the LGBTQ youth of today, you are a gift to this world. Never let those who bully or taunt you prevent from being exactly who you are. Yes, it can be tough, and the bullying situation in our schools is something that we must work to stop. But your teen years are a mere nanosecond compared to the decades of happiness, joy, and love that will come into your life as a proud gay adult. This world needs what you add to it, so I implore you never to consider taking your own life. If my book prevents even one life lost, I consider myself blessed. My closing message is to parents. Understand that your child might be straight or they might be gay, and that's okay. So please, love all your children unconditionally, and nurture and encourage what makes them happy and healthy. Raise them to accept and respect all people, no matter the differences. Teach them that what defines them are their actions and deeds and not their sexuality. And above all, no matter the gender, teach them that love is love. Thanks. I will add that I'm glad they made the book small so that if kids are holding it in their hands, that it can feel like their book and not like some giant adult book. And shamelessly, I will tell you that it is actually a perfect stocking stuffer. So if you don't have the book and want to pick it up for a Christmas gift, do they have them here? We do. Pick it up. That's it. Thank you very much.